The reason for this video is because the order granted for adoption back in November 17, 2006 is what led to the order of termination May 20th, 2013. Hi, my name is Deborah Martinez. The reason for this video is because I want to address several issues that we have in our court system. One of the things that you just saw was his adoption papers. I had actually adopted this little girl. Aliazeh Unique Alvarado. She was actually taken from her mother and my brother, William Alvarado, on the grounds where I was standing next to her at the courthouse when her court-appointed attorney told her, sign your rights over for Anna, Jason, and Aliazeh. You can keep the child you're carrying. If not, we're going to put it up for adoption once it's born. I told this attorney no. She completed everything. Give her all her kids. She had a job. She completed all her classes, had an apartment. There was no reason why this mother should have lost her kids. Well, they put her in a room by herself. Minutes later, I saw a CPS worker running out of that same room. Everybody can leave. We're going to go celebrate. We got what we wanted. I was shocked to know that the court system was not what it was. Witnessing what I saw, I called higher management, and I was able to adopt my brother's child, Aliazeh Unique Alvarado. That's where this falls in, the order granted. You know, the hardest thing that I face today is that I never knew that Child Protective Services were receiving bonuses or higher commission until after I started investigating when they came into my home in 2011. My children were removed June 1st, 2011. The investigator kept telling me, so you're so-and-so sister, and I kept telling her, no, I adopted the little girl because it was my brother's. My children were taken only because of that. Each day, parents are given options to where if they're pregnant, they sign over their rights for the living children, for the ones that they're carrying, that from that day forward, they'll be able to start keeping every other child from them. If not, if they terminate their rights, they will automatically lose every other child that they are carrying from that day forward if they refuse. Unfortunately, I've never been in a situation to where I've actually witnessed something like that. When I did witness it, it was shocking to even know what was going on in the system. But I never knew it was this bad. I never knew that Child Protective Services was actually getting away with committing fraud and perjury and endangering our children. When they came into my home June 1st in 2011 and removed my children on clean UAs, I was told by the investigator, she would call me every day and say, you want your kids back, you know what you got to do. And I kept telling her she was crazy. I was not going to do it. She kept telling me that I had to get into a treatment center no matter what. And I cried because I didn't know no other way to live but through my children. I worked 2 blocks down. The school was 2 blocks down. I got out at 3 o'clock, enough time to pick up my children and come home. And being away from my children has led me to give in to her demands. I remember doing the drugs June 8th, 2011. I was trying to get in, and I was not able to get in because the counselor said I was doing it for the wrong reasons. She tried to get my kids back, and the space was limited when it came up to funding for people that are really actually on doing drugs and that needed help. So I actually went to Child Protective Services June 10th, 2011, and I explained to the supervisor, April Laminia, what I was forced to do, drugs, to if I wanted my children back. Not only that, I reported that what in my case had to do with the mother's case, and that my children never should have been in state care. Well, she said, so you're dirty, go take a drug test. She had the same investigator take me to go take that drug test. An investigator on the way over there, she kept telling me, so You're the sister. We had nothing on you. Now we do. And I'm in her car crying, asking her why. Why my kids? Y'all are a state-funded agency. Why are y'all making mothers choose between living kids for a child that's not born yet? Why are you making parents go through stuff that they never should have to go through? My children were already out of my care when I did the drug. I did the drug because I had no choice. I was told that would be the only way I could get my children back. So I gave in to her demands. But I also reported it to higher management that day. I reported it to a supervisor by the name of Tricia. And I also reported it to another higher management, Ann Rios. And by June 14, 2011, I received a phone call by April Dominia, the supervisor. And she stated, all because you went to higher management, you can forget the safety plan. I'm taking you to court to make sure you lose your kids. I was actually put, 10 false allegations were put on me. The judge said I could have got my drug test from a plumber and neglected to take my drug test as evidence. As well as he basically, when he found out that I was innocent, and then so he went on ahead and said, well, we're going to go ahead and use the drug test that we got on June 13th. But my children were not even in my care at that time. I would actually gave in to her demands, which falls up under my human rights. I was a vulnerable adult who was forced to do drugs because I had no choice. I had to do the drug to get into a treatment center or I lose my kids. Each day, parents are forced to give choices by Child Protective Services. Well, I actually have tried to get into a class where I have been denied many times because they kept telling me I'm not a drug addict. And the social worker during the whole time frame has been telling me I had to admit to what was on the affidavit or I lose my kids. So once again, I tried doing the drug again to try to get into a treatment center so I could go ahead and get that certificate. I wasn't able to because everybody kept telling me the same thing. So I did the drug again in June of 2012. Well, knowing the fact that it takes 6 months for them to do a hair follicle, because of knowing the truth that I did do the drug twice to try to get into any treatment center so I can get a certificate so I can get my kids back. Because I'm forced to say something that there was no way I could get into a class. So one of the hardest choices that parents are making today are giving into the demands of Child Protective Services. And the reason why I lost my kids was for stopping this adoption. We got to realize that back then, in 2006, Anna, Jason, and Aliazeh went up for adoption, all because the mother wanted. The mother was told that she had to give her rights up for 3 living children for a child that wasn't born yet. I lost my kids. So that's 6 kids total in state care that should not be in state care. That are illegally in the system the wrong way. Now you heard my story. Now you know what parents are up against. And today is actually September 24th. My little girl's birthday. My children should not have to pay a price for what I witnessed and for what I stopped. The laws need to be stopped, and they have a choice they're going to make. They start protecting the innocence of these children because it's state-funded money that's being used, taxpayers' dollars. I've worked for 22 years. I get a Social Security statement. My Social Security is being used to destroy innocent families, and it needs to be stopped.